Greetings, my name is Ali, and this is my channel Gate of Babylon, the gate to everything. Welcome back to this video and let's go. Today's video, as you saw in the title, is why MMA slash UFC that we know about today would not work in real life. Some people talked about this, but not directly, and I think this is a really important topic to understand. And because UFC is very popular and there's many people trying to learn MMA, on so forth and so on, but it's really not, proper MMA, proper UFC is really not efficient and really not how things will go in real life. It's still gonna make you a good fighter. UFC is very famous, so you're just taking advantage of things being famous, because if you want to take the proper side, it's gonna be hard finding the space, finding the teacher. It's gonna be expensive, as well as you gotta train more, so on and so forth. That's right, but being good at UFC and MMA will not make you a good street fighter, would not make you someone who can smash anybody, alright, in the street. It would not make you capable of going toe to toe with proper mercenaries that were fighting for most of their life, for instance. Especially the good ones, alright? The good ones that get paid really high. Don't try go fight a mercenary, alright? You're not gonna get anywhere. Of course, one of the reasons why the UFC will not work in real life is simply it doesn't incorporate any weapons. But I want just to start with the obvious ones. Nowadays, everybody gonna pick a weapon or something. So yeah, martial-art would be a better option here. However, we're talking here about hand-to-hand combat. I just want to clear that, just to say it, have a video that talks about everything, as the channel is, but leave that out of the window, because still we're talking about hand-to-hand combat. Alright, so now, how is the UFC and MMA would not help you in real life scenario? Just want to clear something. If you're going against newbies, even if there are many, MMA and UFC will work. Alright, it's just it's the thing with every single martial art, with every single thing outside there. They all work, but it will be a challenge. Which one that works better, which one that works faster. Also, there's some bias, as well as it depends on the person. However, MMA as we know it today, the UFC has a lot of limitations that it would not make it work in real life. Now, let's get to the thick of it. Why it wouldn't work? Well, before getting into the thick of it, I'm planning in the future to make a video of that video requires a lot of research, alright? And it doesn't have just opinion and my understanding and from my experience and my opinion and all that stuff. I mean, I have a lot of philosophical understanding of this, but I want to prove it to you directly. That one requires some exclusive research, because I want to discuss to you certain points that requires a lot of details, like what is expected and what is not expected, what is legal and illegal in the ring. We're gonna in this later on video in the future, we're gonna talk about bring a paper with all the rules, and maybe I'll link it in the description below as well, a PDF where you have all the rules, all the legislations, all the stuff that you need to to be aware in the ring. What is allowed, what is not allowed. And by reading that line by line, discussing it line by line, you will see that it's really not a realistic situation, even though it looks like it's a realistic fight. They're still fighting out of their heart. It's still real. It's not WWE or something on the line like that. No, it's not. However, it's still not feel realistic. Well, simply we can attack that saying that they don't want it to be the Colosseum. You know, they don't want them to be gladiators. They don't want them to kill each others. Neither they want them to, like, you know, smash each others. You know, you don't want broken people in a single fight. Plus, you don't want people smashing each other's. You know, that type of thing. So you restrict them. However, if you want a real, realistic fight situation, but in the same time put in mind no killing, no total devastating to someone's organ, so on and so forth, then look no closer than the tournament, the two tournaments that happened in Baki. You know, there's the rules of those two underground tournaments, because underground tournaments, those are the real fight. Alright? Those are the real fight. Basically, having a fight in a ring where everything is allowed except attacking the eyes, you know, permanent damage type of thing, or killing your opponent intentionally is not allowed. There's no using weapons, no matter how small or big. Those are not allowed. However, everything else then should be allowed to make it realistic. So you can use whatever moves you want to use and all that stuff. A lot of you might get shocked. There's a lot of stuff prohibited and illegal to use that are very effective in real life, and they can change a lot of games. Because if they gonna fight under these rules, the way how they train, the way how they eat, the way how they look, the way how they prepare themselves to these matches, the level of training, everything would change drastically. Those athlete martial arts fighters would be totally different than how they look like on the screen. And nowadays, is like in the present, then if this was if it was an kind of sort of speak like an underground arena, just like in Baki, the one in Japan and in Tokyo, everything is allowed. Where that's a realistic fight. Although it's a devastating fight, it will be too graphic. It will be savage, as it will have a lot of blood in it, a lot of damage, as well as a lot of aggressiveness. And I think you don't want to put that on the TV. You know, that type of thing. However, you need to understand it's not fully like how it's not really how it will be in real life. As I said, you need to be aware that those techniques still can be used in real life against newbies and against normal people. But as soon as you use those techniques as someone equal to you or someone better than you, then you're gonna realize this. Alright? There's so many things would change the game of the UFC instantly. For instance, the classic example, in my opinion, you're not allowed to grab on your opponent's hair. You're not allowed to grab on your opponent's skin and, you know, squeeze it. You're not allowed, for instance, if you have very strong grip, to squeeze on and turn around with two, like your palm and the other, and your most powerful two fingers, and like in a way where you take some skin and muscle off, which is doable, especially if you have strong grips thing. Like if you can crush an apple, a big apple, with one squeeze, like if it was a tissue, you definitely can do this. If this allowed, don't even forget about pulling a muscle or skin off. Even without pulling a muscle or skin off, when they grapple, they get on the ground. There's so many things that in real life that I would do would change this game. For instance, fighting. The best way to defeat someone, like if you're fighting for your life, the best way to defeat someone and then clinch on the ground and grapple is to bite them, especially in the neck. Bite in the neck as strong as possible, like if you wasn't zombie. Forget if blood goes in your mouth. Bite, grab, and snap muscle and everything out. I want to tell you that the human bite, you don't realize it, you don't do it, because you don't have the savage intention, but on average your mouth is capable of biting into someone's muscles and tearing parts of it off. If you really want to do that, you're capable of doing that, and doing such a thing leaves remarkable pain as well as a lot of blood loss, and if they don't get support within 5 minutes, they will start getting dizzy, or maximum by 5 minutes, especially if they are already fighting and their blood pressure high is even less. Then they're gonna die, or they're gonna be almost in the way to die. But you can't. If you really intend to do so, you can bite someone so hard that you pull muscle off. It's possible. It's doable without even training your mouth. Alright, unless your mouth is too cute, but it depends, those muscles are really used for eating. You eat every single day. Those muscles there are ridiculously strong, alright? Your human bite is much stronger than many dogs and other animals. However, it's not as effective just due to their teeth, but still you can generate tons of amount of energy very quickly, and it's more than effective to do damage. The bite, just biting, that's an all change entire game. You see how in UFC there's too much takedowns, too much grappling, too much wrestling type of moves, too much of forcing your opponent to surrender. There shouldn't be even forcing your opponent to surrender. Your opponent should be either surrenders. If they want to surrender, they will surrender. But it shouldn't go that way. It should go either like, let's say they don't want to fight anymore, or forget that. But let's leave it to the big video later on in the time, but where we discuss very deeply on the rules and just restrictions and how UFC operates in the ring. But you see, like, if you just biting, squeezing someone's skin, those by themselves can change the entire fighting scenario in the ring, in the cage, whatever you want to call it. Also, I want to say that most UFC fights are literally don't look that dangerous as much as a proper school fight, and they don't have that much feel of professional feel to it, because there's a lot of focus on these rules, and because certain fighters, they take advantage of them, like giving sides and things that outside of the ring the opponent could use against the other fighter, but give it to them so it distracts the other fighter. It makes a shield, so to speak, so the fighters doing this can perform the takedown of thing they want to do. And there's a lot of ground fight. I don't like ground fights. However, in a real life scenario, you don't know who you're fighting exactly. On one-on-one, it's okay, but who said in a real life fight it says one-on-one? Perhaps it's a trap. When you get to the ground, the other guy who's hiding somewhere will come on and kick your head, kick your face with his leg. Like in a street fight, don't ever get on the ground. If you get on the ground, it's GG for 99% of the times if you're fighting a real fight in the street, because there's a lot of street fights that are literally rubbish. Not every street fight is a proper street fight, but when it is a proper fight, or not a street fight, don't get into a street fight, but I'm saying like a proper real fight, when someone is having the intent to hurt you, when two guys or two women or whatever want to hurt each other's, or at least one of them wants to hurt the other, or someone wants to hurt you, someone wants to fuck your life up, or kill you, or just they want to smash you. If someone has the intent, don't ever do takedown and get to the ground. Someone would say run away, but those stuff we're gonna talk about them in the next video, and the coming next videos, not exactly the next video after this, but in the coming future. However, takedowns, ground fights, there's some takedowns you can perform while standing up. There's some takedowns like making your opponent go to the ground without you going to the ground with them. Those are fine and they are fantastic, but those techniques of which you get to the ground with your opponent, those will work properly in a proper street fight or a proper real life fight scenario, even if it's not to the death. And just like I explained, someone just bite you anywhere, and it is GG at that point for most of the time. And a very important point I want to talk about that is most of the fights that I've seen, except for those few special fights, most of the fights in the UFC are seriously not interesting, and they look like a high school fight. Like seriously, I don't know about your high school or your schools, but a serious school fight is far more dangerous than a UFC ring, and far more nicer to watch, and seriously more action in there, and much better. Like the way how they fight, most of the techniques and the techniques they keep using over and over, especially the new recruits in the UFC, I seriously like, come on bro, most of the fights are boring as slow, come on. And I want to say that I've trained that my teachers, some of my old teachers, they have trained us, me and a few others that we did train, they have trained us that when we fight each other's, it's a friendly fight, but for practice. But the fight must not get longer than 3 minutes. If it gets longer than 3 minutes, me and him, we disqualify. Sometimes we do tournaments inside this class, like with the class. Like there's a 20 of us and we make a tournament. If the fight gets longer than 3 minutes, me and the other guy would both disqualified. Sometimes, sometimes it's a team fight. Team tournament. Some people they try to waste time and make you get over the 3 minutes. So both of you get disqualified, but they know this guy is good, so let's disqualify him. It was allowed, but I'm saying a fight shouldn't go longer than 3 minutes. So it's not, the teacher wasn't picky on the 3 minutes. Sometimes he gives us an additional half a minute depending on the fight and how it is going. But after 3 minutes and 40 seconds, 3 minutes and 30 seconds, it stopped. If nothing happens, both fighters are disqualified. In fact, the fight should be as fast as possible. You should aim for 2 minutes. In boxing, that's ridiculous amount of rounds, 4 rounds, 3 rounds on average. Come on, bro. It should be only 1 round, and that's it. Taking the fight too long, that's not how it would be in real life. Plus, that's not the best scenario you need to do. Because what if the person you're fighting has friends and they're coming? You need to finish the fight as quick as possible and run away, perhaps, depending on the situation. Some would say just run away anytime, whatever it was the case, which for some will be helpful, and for most scenarios, if you want to just be as safe as possible, that would be the case. Just run away. But the thing is, that's not how fights should be played. It's not you shouldn't do these things at all. No, it depends. But the trope and how much these things have been used, and how you almost fight in every single fight and in the UFC, and how people are mimicking them without knowledge of this is not a real fight. A real fight when 2 people want to smash each other. There's a referee, there's laws, there's rules, there's contract that these 2 fighters in the ring that need to follow. And there's a lot of business behind the UFC as well. But I just want to note that most UFC fights, at least not the top tier, they totally, even me watching a high school fight would be much better. A serious high school fight. I don't know about your high school, but I know an Arab world high schools, or at least before 2010, it's a GG world. Every week, every 2 weeks, you hear of someone an ambulance would just come to the school. Someone has a pencil or a pen in their head. That type of thing. So yeah, there's fights every single day, at least outside the school. Every single day, bro. The school can't do shit about it because it's all the boys. Anyway, and from what I saw when I was a kid, and as much I saw those type of high school fights, it very much looks like a high school fight. A professional high school fighters would fight. Most of them would just fight just like the UFC guys. A lot of takedowns, a lot of they wouldn't even do takedowns because mostly it's a group fight. So it would be takedowns, but judo type takedowns, slams and stuff. You would stay high, you wouldn't go down with the opponent. Sometimes they go down with the opponent because they lose balance and whatnot. Sometimes you have to go down, sometimes you just it just happens you go down. I understand that. Sometimes you lose balance, or the other guys make you lose balance, and you lost the balance battle. It happens, but it happens too much in the UFC. Anyway, I just wanted to add that. Also, there shouldn't be a referee. Plus, I don't understand. I understand you have a referee and you stop people from going into it too deeply. In terms of boxing. How in boxing, when they come too close, they punch so severely, the referee will interfere. It's kind of the same in the UFC. But if you want a realistic fight, there shouldn't be a referee, alright? Or at least the referee should be outside of the cage. That's how it should be. Like, if you want a realistic fight, people don't understand. Like, you people should understand that MMA is not really MMA. Mixed martial arts, MMA, is not really a mixed martial art. Mixed martial art, MMA. It's not really MMA. Because most MMAs, they know kickboxing, boxing, a little bit of grappling, jiu-jitsu maybe, or judo. That's it. That's majority of the techniques are used in the ring. A little bit of kicking, basic kicking techniques. That's what used in the ring for most of the times. Especially when you analyze every single match in the UFC. What's the most used techniques? Those techniques. They are from little specific martial arts. We're above the rest of the martial arts that's in the world. Alright, where are they? There's even a little karate moves to speak of. And karate is effective. Not this touch karate and stuff like proper karate. That island karate stuff, original karate. What about the Indian karate type of style? Wow, we shouldn't call it Indian karate, but before the original karate, there's some karate in India as well. So, what about those? Proper mixed martial arts. In my opinion, hopefully this gonna make a revolution in the UFC and pay me money for that. Yeah. Is learning Jeet-Kune-Do should be a must. You can't really call yourself a mixed martial artist and you didn't learn Jeet-Kune-Do. You just can't. Alright? Especially if your martial arts which you learned are similar. Like if you learn Matai, what's the name of it? Italian martial art. Oh my god, how did I forget it? Anyway, there's the art of the 8 limbs, but there's also the 9th limb, using the head. But there's the art of the 9 limbs is a separate martial art, but if you're a master of both, it's the same martial art. Mixed martial artist, bro. Alright? But if you, for instance, you learn karate and you learn jiu-jitsu, that's a mixed martial art. Especially if you learn, for instance, a little bit of karate, a little bit of jiu-jitsu, then you learn salat. That's definitely a mixed martial art. Especially if you learn jiu-jitsu and then you learn salat. Perfect. Kind of a nice combination. Well, for beginners, in my opinion, a good combination is learning karate judo or jiu-jitsu. So as a second, simultaneously. Alright? Simultaneously. However, before doing that, in my opinion, especially nowadays, because people don't have experience of a real fight, alright? Especially for girls, this message is for those who want to learn martial arts. Learn first Jeet-Kune-Do. Learn what a martial art means. If you're really into martial arts, alright? Learn what martial art means, what fighting means, how is it like in a real fight. Condition yourself mentally, emotionally, all that stuff. Do condition workouts. Put your physical prowess high. Make your body capable of doing any combination, any move. You just need to learn it. Learn the muscle fiber thing. Learn the muscle memory. Train it over and over and over, and know how to use it, when to use it, what it's used for. Learn Jeet-Kune-Do, few extra moves from other martial arts, because Jeet-Kune-Do, the real I don't know why Jeet-Kune-Do fighters don't do. Most of them don't do this. If you learn Jeet-Kune-Do, if you want the maximum output of Jeet-Kune-Do, what Jeet-Kune-Do is intended for mixed martial arts, after learning Jeet-Kune-Do, you learn multiple other martial arts, and you integrate it with your understanding of the principle, not just the martial art, of the martial art. Apply it apply it in the way where you merge both together under the umbrella and under the very changeable adaptive sphere of Jeet-Kune-Do. Jeet-Kune-Do means the way of the fist. It's the way of all martial arts. Jeet-Kune-Do is the first mixed martial arts. Jeet-Kune-Do is what? It's Bruce Lee's martial art output. Bruce Lee cannot come with new move and new martial art. In my opinion, he didn't come with new martial art. What he come with a martial art concept, can perform to be very stitchy, very adaptive, where people can be very conditioned through it to be able to jump into a real fight, where it makes things easier, faster, to achieve more in the future, in the long run, where you can put many martial arts through his, he says there's no this way, Chinese way or European way or Japanese way. They're all fighting, they're all martial arts, alright? So you have to learn all of them as much as possible and keep improving yourself. But you cannot just learn it as much as possible and keep improving yourself without rules. And that's where Jeet-Kune-Do comes in and fits, balancing stuff and give you the total understanding what a fight is, conditioning you in the beginning, and then when you master Jeet-Kune-Do, you can suck more martial arts into it and feed it techniques and moves and other principles inside it. So MMA should be called Jeet-Kune-Do, and learning the martial art Jeet-Kune-Do should be a must to be able to perform in the ring, to be a proper mixed martial arts. And in my opinion, anyone that needs to fight in a mixed martial art should know 3+ different martial arts. So in general and average, you will expect someone to have 5 martial arts under their belt. In my opinion, most MMA's guy, UFC, they know 3 martial arts, not 5. A lot of people on YouTube, professionals, not professional in the field, but they're trainers and all that stuff, and they know their stuff. They talked about, I forgot his, Ramsey, yeah, I forgot, I remember his name, Ramsey. I'll put him link in the description below. He talked in one of his videos that various people can give a headache to the world champion and possibly beating the world champion. I don't know if they would beat Habib, but he's not God, alright? He's still beatable. And as I said, still the ring is not fully realistic. However, he talked about there's people can give run of money, run of the champion money, if they will fight the champion. Basically, they're kind of equal or better than the champion. They qualified as a fighter to be a champion. However, they're still not champions because many people maybe they don't realize it, or they don't have the money, or stuff like that. But there's another side as well, because being a champion UFC, it's not just being a fighter. You gotta be a good businessman, and you need a team. When you're having a team, it's not just a team of trainers and a team of taking care of your health to put you on a maximum possible performance. However, you have a lawyer, you have a marketer, you have a manager, end of the line. All that stuff. The team is more important than the fighter. Alright? And if you study, especially if you're doing fighting for 5 years, in terms of someone saying I'm fighting for 5 years, I'm training for 5 years, it's not enough. How much you train every single day? How much you train in the week? Because for instance, if you train 1 hour a day, so you train only 7 hours a week, and someone else is training 40 hours a week, even if you say I'm training for 5 years, like if you train someone else in the 5 years as much he trains in 1 year, which one is more productive? Which one gonna be better? Of course, if it's the first year, it can be a little bit different story. But later on, if he trains really hard, he's motivated and has the money to cover his stuff, so he's not worried about working and stuff. That's where you get the most effective training. But you gotta be motivated as well. If you're not motivated, then being hungry can be a motivation. However, if you're motivated, determined, and you have the money all simultaneously, and you're not worried about working, and you're ready to give it all, like entire days just training and resting, you can have a little bit of cool down while resting, and part of the resting maybe a little bit of meditations as well, and maybe you use a technique where you like every hour you sleep 10 minutes to extend the time you have per day, so on and so forth. If you do that within within a decade or two, I'll guarantee you'll become a world champion. Anyone, girl, boy, I don't care. If you do this, like what I mean by motivated and determined is you always try to improve yourself, and you get new ideas, and you try everything. And being creative, if you truly do that, it's guaranteed you're gonna be a world champ, especially even nowadays where people are not willing or working too much, stuff like that, and having problems. How the world operates nowadays. If you look back in history, most of the great warriors, like for instance Lubu, they were nobles and very goddamn rich, and they train and rest the entire day. For instance, someone like Lubu studied so little, just efficient enough. The rest of his life is just being a warrior, training, resting the entire day. For instance, the knights, they still have later on in their life responsibilities, but in terms of Lubu, he does nothing but training and resting for 3 decades straight. Especially back in the days, they don't have really much to do for fun and stuff like that. So basically, if fun and the things you enjoy is training, and you keep on training, I'll guarantee you 2 decades and maximum, you're definitely gonna be a world champion. In fact, you might even become sort of close to the elite warriors in the back in the days. Not just a world champion. World champion, maybe you can do it in the first 5 years, man. Well, it depends on the person, depends if you are a boy or a girl, and depends on how much truly determined you are. so on and so forth. But on average, I will estimate that to be like this. But definitely by 2 decades, you're definitely gonna be goddamn powerful and healthy and effective. Also depends on how tall you are. First, if you determine when you can increase your height, there's techniques for that. Not techniques, pure techniques. There's ways of training to increase your height. So on and so forth. So that's why the UFC is not really a real fight. There's so many stuff that's prohibited. You know, if you bring someone a proper mixed Chinese martial artist, a proper one, not those fake one on the net, a proper one, and you put him in the ring, if like before you put him in the ring, you tell him what is allowed and what is not allowed in the ring, he will tell you, I'm not fighting, because 70% of his techniques are just being thrown in the rubbish. All of the dangerous techniques are not allowed in the ring, in the UFC. Gloves shouldn't be around anyway. While gloves can be both used as a weapon and as a device kind of reduce the damage, and it kind of reduces the overall damage, but can be used as a weapon to win a fight. However, it reduces the amount of techniques possible to be used. You cannot, for instance, one of the things I know, you cannot point your hands. You cannot, one of these techniques where you point your hand to the opponent's eye, it's a favorite thing to Bruce Lee. That's one of the things with the speed of Bruce Lee, he totally can finish the fight in a second. Half a second with that technique. He's not allowed to use it. Or anyone that wants to use it. Which is not really realistic, because someone in real life will go after your eye. But, we don't want people to lose their eyes, alright? It's also disgusting and inhumane, and, you're fighting for money in the end of the day. You're not fighting for fighting, It's not challenge you. All that stuff that happens in the background is bullcrap, except for one situation in the UFC where, it was a bit serious. However, the rest are only looking for money. So, you don't want someone to lose his eyes. Alright? But, you just need to understand this. To be effective in real life, to fight against mercenaries, to be effective, nowadays there's even guns. You need to understand handguns and so on and so forth. You need how to use those as well. You need to know how to use weapons like daggers, knives, swords, so on and so forth. You need how to, salat techniques and stuff like that. You need to know hand-to-hand combat with all the type of dirty moves, or so-called dirty, all things that you could possibly do, which are prohibited, of course, for safety reasons and for TV reasons, and for having those people to fight again and again multiple times to be able to collect more money. There's many reasons why it's not allowed, but people need to understand that it is not really this is how it got in life. Because there's, just let me tell you about this, and then we finish today's video, and later on, like months from now, we're gonna give you the video where I talk in depth an item in the law and jurisdictions in terms of the ring. But for instance, what was it? Come on, man. Well, what I was gonna talk about? After 2,000 years later. God damn it. Whoa. God damn it, I forgot it. Oh, man. Alright, anyway then. I forgot it. I should have scripted bullet points for this. We definitely wouldn't forget this one. It's quite an important. Well, I guess we'll leave it to the big video in the future. And see you next time. Peace out.